Number 193, right? How fun. This is a show about model railroading, isn't it? So that's what we're doing tonight?
Yep. I guess it is.
That's
right. Excellent. We have a lot of stuff to cover tonight, gentlemen. Got Mike here.
Yep.
And if I X this out, I'll bring in Skype. And look who's on Skype tonight. Look at that handsome devil. That's Greg Summerlin. All the way down from Dothan, Alabama. That's God's country. James, it was nice to tour your house the other night. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, we have Richard running camera tonight. Awesome to have you with us tonight, Richard. And we've got a lot of territory here to go. Where are we going to start? Let's just do it like we pretend like we know what we're doing.
Yeah, why not?
All right, Richard, go ahead and let's just give it my best shot here. Give me a countdown.
3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you.
These are anyway.
And by GL Robotics. With over 61 colors of 3D printing filaments in stock, your gateway to new technology. Check out their website at glroboticsusa.com. Additional support is provided by Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Check them out. Their website is ohrtracksupply.com. Thank you very much, Jeff Otto, for your support. And by InterMountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast.
This is the What's Neat This Week show, number 193 for April 23rd, 2022. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, and I saw that the April show just came out. There's a lot of great content in that show. Viewers' comments have been amazing about Jennifer Kirk's segment on how to solder. Thank you so much, Jenny, for working with us on that. And in fact, I got her new tree video, which we're going to run in June's What's Neat. Great edit. I think that's about a 15-minute long video, Jennifer, that she did for us, and she did a really great job. We're going to talk about track tonight. We've talked about track a lot on this show. Microengineering is by far my favorite when it comes to ready-to-roll flex track. And that is Code 70, Code 83, Code 100, and Code 55 rail, which looks absolutely fantastic in those grassy sidings that we like to model on our layouts. But they also obviously make N scale and all the various scales. But an old friend of ours has come back into the mix, and it is our friend Jeffrey Otto from Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply. Jeff has got a lot of new products. He's starting some new ventures, and I'm really happy to hear from Jeff. He was one of our first sponsors that we had on this show, and back then we didn't consider that a sponsor. He was buying us pizzas every Saturday night, as I recall.
Yeah, I'm kind of missing that right now, to be honest.
That's okay. I'll buy you a pizza tonight. Let me go around the table first before I start with Jeff's segment, because I do want to talk about his track stuff. We've got some great photos to run. Sitting on my side over here is my favorite Mike buddy. Hey, Mike.
Hey, everybody.
And you bought some new boxcars this week that you're going to talk about.
I couldn't resist.
They look like tangents. I love them. On the other side of me, all the way over here, I've got our favorite, educated, Ivy League, in fact, James Regier.
There you
go. James, we're going to talk about 3D printing because we have assembled a new 3D printer in the last 30 minutes.
That's right.
And now what's that printer called?
That is the Anycubic Viper.
And it's over there printing right now.
Yeah, it's doing a good job by the looks of it. So we may even be able to look at what comes hot off that printer at the end of the show.
Because it's pretty quick.
Because it's pretty fast.
It's a lot faster than the Dremel
It's beating that Dremel, but of course it's got several years on that Dremel.
Out in Skype land, of course, we've got our favorite from GL Robotics, and that's the company that sells these wonderful 3D printers with customer service. Greg Summerlin. Hey, Greg.
Hey, how are you?
It's nice to have you on the show again. I want to say that his customer service, we've talked about it, but tonight I got to experience it.
Right. Though we may need the asterisk that how many people are going to actually have Greg Summerlin watching over their shoulders as they're putting together the printer and pointing out what they're not quite doing in the right order.
That's exactly what happened tonight. He was literally sitting there sharing with us and showing us how to set up the machine. And it was quite simple.
I probably shouldn't say this, but I've done a lot of Skype
have you?
videos for my customers. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
At the end of the day, it's just a lot quicker for me to look at what their problem is and fix it.
Makes sense.
It was really cool because
that's service.
He literally was watching us on the Skype video camera set up the machine. And an amazing thing about this machine, how technology has changed since 2015 when I did that Dremel 3D Idea Builder segment in the December show on What's Neat, was that this table levels itself.
It's self-leveling. It's a heated table, so it's not going to have that warping problem.
Right. With the Dremel, I had to turn knobs, and I had to use like a spark plug gap tool to make sure the head was the right distance from the table.
Yeah.
And this did it all by itself.
Right.
And this machine is a fraction of the cost of what that Dremel was. That was a $1,000 machine back then.
Right. Well,
how things have changed.
Like all things technology, they're coming down in price. Like I was just noticing that, the Anycubic Photon X here is what you could get the Photon S for a few years ago. It's like everything is coming down. That's pretty neat.
Woody called me up about 30 minutes before we did the show tonight. Now, as you recall, Woody's the gentleman that made those metal throttle holders to hold the NCE.
Right there.
Mike
In fact,
Wood.
he made our display for us for the NCE Power Cab. He also makes them for the UWT 100 throttle and for Digitrax throttles. We met him. I'll run this clip right now of us out in Wisconsin when we were at that show up there. That show was called
the Train Fest.
Train Fest.
That was Train Fest.
Oh, Train
We
Fest.
were about that close to doing an edit.
That was a blast. That was a blast.
That was amazing.
I can't wait till they have another one because I'm looking forward to going to it already.
It is coming back.
Yeah.
I hear Train Fest is back.
But that's where we met Woody selling his wares. But Woody has brought to my attention the Muskegon Railroad Historical Society has got a show coming up this weekend, April 30th, 2022, at the Cardinal Elementary School at 2310 Marquette Avenue in Muskegon, Michigan. And for all those folks that would like to attend, the show is, again, from 10 until 2 p.m. And I think they charge to get in, a $5 donation to be able to get into the show. But look forward to that. This is another example that train shows are back. Things have gotten back to normal. In fact, this week, according to the news, you don't have to wear a mask on an airplane anymore.
Yeah.
That's going to make George Bogatuk out there at Soundtracks happy, and he's going to start traveling all over the world. Now, I would like to say that I got to go railfanning again with my favorite Holly, which is my new friend that I've been hanging out a lot with. And in fact, she was all excited about hearing about this 3D printer getting set up tonight. She texted me and said, I want to play, which I know she does because people find it so amazing that you can make simple household items on these machines. But Holly and I went railfanning this, actually yesterday. We went to Valley Junction. Now, I haven't been to Valley Junction in St. Louis. It's on the east side in East St. Louis. I haven't been there since the 90s, and I used to go there quite often when I was in the real estate business. I would go over there and have lunch, sit there and eat my McDonald's and just watch trains. I took her over there, and we saw this wonderful Burlington Northern Santa Fe consist coming through. Before I show you that, I want to talk about the 7 locomotives, Union Pacific, coming right off the MacArthur Bridge.
I saw that going past my house yesterday.
You did? That was
Yes.
7 locomotives
Yes.
on that consist.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I have video footage of that. It was absolutely amazing. As I pan from the second locomotives, you'll also see an SD40-2 working the hump in the A&S yard right here. And then Holly and I were able to watch this BNSF freight, BNUP locomotives, but it was BNSF on the head, pulling a train through Valley Junction. Now, Valley Junction in St. Louis is one of the most busy areas in St. Louis because there's 2 hump yards over there. Used to be the Gateway and Western Railroad over there as well. And plus all the traffic up and down the DeSoto sub, actually from downtown, and then also all the stuff in Illinois on the double track main line just across the river from me over here. Very, very busy trackage. And watching this train come through was kind of amazing, and I'm just so happy that she's getting excited about, my passion, which is the hobby. Also, something else that we saw over there, and that's going to lead into the Oak Hill segment, is there was literally some turnouts and flex track, snap track, it almost looked like Atlas snap track, sitting trackside over there in this field. I zoomed in on this turnout that was literally laying out in the grass like a kit, and it was just sitting there. And all the hardware and all the detail in this turnout, you can see in this video clip, unbelievably amazing in that I guess they would use a crane and then move this onto a flat car and take it to a location where they need to snap down this switch. Already pre-built. It's all pre-built and lay it in place.
Now, I remember at Topeka Railroad days, they'd actually have track gangs do competitive building of these little segments of track. They'd build them right there. Whoever could do it fastest and best, I guess. Obviously, speed doesn't matter if it falls apart afterward. But
it was just amazing to see that in real life, because that thing's got to be that's got to weigh tons, and it's got to hold itself together as they move it and slide it into place.
You've seen those on train cars, haven't you?
True, at a 45,
yeah.
As they transport them.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. I lost my train of thought on exactly where I wanted to go on this segment, but what this leads up into is the fact that Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply does in fact make very detailed track for the guy that likes to do his own hand-laid and or wooden type ties. Now they use the soldering, those bars, what are they called? When they solder the track together to hold it in place, and then you fill in the rest of the track with your wooden ties, which works really well. Templates, right. Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply has been developing cutting-edge parts for the model railroaders now for years, but there's a whole new segment of track design, frogs, diamonds, points, throw bars, and tie plates that are going to be coming out that will be unrivaled for the RPM type guys, the guys that really want every single detail, every single clamp, and all the stuff that you see that I showed you on this prototype switch that I just showed you laying there in the grass. They've been developing new frogs, new points, and new throw bars and diamonds and tie plates now for the last 2 years. He's been upping his line. He's been increasing and creating a brand new grade of quality like we haven't seen in this hobby before, and he's very proud of it. Right. And he's starting to he's going to be on the show next month in May, so he can share with us a lot of this different track hardware and the track kits that he's making. I mean, essentially, he'll custom build turnouts for you where you can have them ready to be laid on your layout, and that's all different sizes, number 20s, number 16s, number 10s, curved, straights, diamonds, crossovers. Check out his website at ohrtracksupply.com, Oak Hill Model Railroad Track Supply, that's ohrtracksupply.com, and you'll find all these things I'm talking about. The stub turnout is pretty amazing. I've got some photographs that he sent us. I'm going to start with this 3-way turnout that he sent me a photograph of. Now this again has got wooden ties in place. If you look at previous What's Neat videos going back about 4 years ago, he shared with us how to use his templates. He also sells the metal templates so that you can hand lay and create your own switches ready to be placed onto your layout. I've got some of them hanging up down here on the wall because they look like art. They're absolutely beautiful aluminum plates where all the ties fit into place. There's grooves and spaces to lay your rail, and then you solder it and or glue it all into place. It's an amazing system the way he designed his systems. I'm going to show you a picture here of a number 10 turnout that he had done. Again, this is another turnout that you can order for your layout, ready to be laid on your layout, and or you can buy the kit from him. Comes with the rail, comes with the frog, comes with the ties, comes with all the solder joint bars that you use. What are those called? I'm not getting the name of those.
Oh, yeah, those PCB ties.
PC boards.
Yeah,
that's what
PC
they are,
board.
in fact.
Yeah.
He discussed that with me tonight. There's a double crossover that I'm going to show you. And this is amazing because the photograph I'm going to show you has got the old, one of the Wathers, I think old Shinahara crossover. And a customer sent him this crossover and said, I want these in hand-laid wood so the wood stain and the grain look great on my layout with my scenery. And so Jeff custom built him this. And if you look at the difference between the rails, Jeff's is absolutely prototype. Wow. I mean, it's just dead on the way it should be. So there's a lot of stuff that you guys need to check out. We're going to have him on the show in May. He's also got some brand new straight track templates, so you can hand lay and create your own straight track. And if you look at these, one of these is spaced out where there's 3 ties close together every 19 feet. And the reason for that, this is again yard type trackage track, but it lends itself well because yard track is generally 39.5 foot joint barred track. And that's why the 3 ties are close together of what I'm showing you here right now, is so that it could all be spiked into place securely on the prototype, which is exactly how they do it on the model. So thank you very much, Jeff Otto, for helping us support the best hobby in the world. Welcome back to the family, brother. We look forward to having you on the show next month. Again, folks, you can check out his work at ohrtracksupply.com. Custom ordered turnouts ready to go for your layout and or kits, or you can buy templates and build them yourselves. How good does that get?
Well, I just got to say, you were mentioning those tie plates, and I've been following Walker Embry's new MKT N scale layout, and that guy's putting tie plates
and joint
bars onto his N scale track.
Yes.
How tiny is that? I envy his eyesight. I envy his patience. That's
Yeah, he's dedicated.
He is dedicated.
That's amazing.
Well, he was putting corrugated siding onto his wooden grain elevator as well.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
holy cow.
Now, Mike's got some boxcars on the table, and I'm going to photograph these outside tomorrow so that as he explains them, we'll be able to have color photos before. But before we launch into that, Mike, I want to cover these 4 amazing tank cars that we've got on the table, fresh, brand new off the skillet from InterMountain Railway Company. This is 19,600 foot or 600 gallon tank cars, 19,600. First one I'm going to share with you, and I've already shot these outside, is a Domino Sugar car. Car number 3008, that's the one in white that you see here. I've shot these from the side and on top out in real sunlight. The next one I'm going to share with you is a GATX car, number 71727. This is a beautiful car in black. It's got a gray patch on the top where you would fill the car. And I, again, shot this from on top, but I also shot detail shots of this car from on top. So you can see that all the detail of the handrails and the rigging at the top of the car. Also, these cars, I'm going to show you the in-between segment because all the catwalks and roof walks are absolutely etched and see-through. I also shot an end shot of one of these cars showing all the handrails and bracing and the brake wheel on these cars. These are absolutely finite, high-fidelity tank cars. The next one I'm going to show you is TILX. This car is in light gray. Car number is 170333. Absolutely beautiful, and these do come with metal Katy couplers. The last one is Tate and Lyle. This is car number 51195. This is a really nice car in a black. And I've got a car that's also got the name Staley on it, which you see on this car, a car that was actually built in the 30s. So I'm imagining that Staley has been a company that has been around for a long time. I don't have video footage of this, but on our way, after we railfanned yesterday, Holly and I stopped in the Monsanto plant over in Sauget, Illinois, and we watched 2 terminal locomotives adding new empty cars into the Sauget plant, and these were full-size tank cars. And it was absolutely amazing, the system they have. They don't have any crossing gates on the roads over there, so they've got employees that actually get out of their white pickup trucks. They flag the road to keep traffic clear as the 2 Terminal Association GP38s pushed back into the plant, and everything was lit up. I mean, it wasn't LEDs, it was halogen bright lights lighting up the entire structure. And then after the car movements were over, they turned off the bright lights and the streets went dark again, and the guys got back in their trucks and left.
Wow.
And it was just like Sauget driving over to Pops and listening to some music. Remember those days?
Oh, yeah.
But that's one thing I do remember, as I lost my train of thought talking about the track and rail fanning over there. I've rail fanned over there through the 90s, and it was easy. I'd go over there every day, like I said, for lunch. Well, I was visited by a railroad police officer who explained to me that they don't really want us parking on the gravel lot next to the tracks anymore. In fact, he pointed out some signs to me that I might have missed that said no trespassing. So he very kindly asked us to leave the property. I want to thank him for being so cool about that, because I had no idea how much the laws have changed since 9/11, and you know, things have changed with regards to rail fanning, and I've got to be more careful about reading signage and making sure that I don't get into trouble. But The guy was really cool about it. I really appreciate it. And I told him straight up, I said, look, we got one of the best shows on YouTube about trains. And he said, I bet you do. So thank you very much. I'm not going to mention your name, but he was cool. Mike, go ahead and talk about your freight cars tonight.
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is these two hoppers up here. Here's one in the box. These are from China, from a company called Model Asia, and they're actually models of Chinese trains, which I never really knew much about until I got these and I started looking at them on the internet. But I was surprised to see how similar they are to American railroads. The trucks and the couplers are almost exactly the same. And these particular hoppers are 80-ton hoppers. C80 is what they call them. I'm not sure, maybe they probably have shorter curves over there and stuff. Maybe they don't have the weight limits for the large hoppers, but I've seen a lot of pictures of unit trains full of these same hoppers.
So these aren't American prototypes?
No, these are Chinese prototypes. One of them is China Energy. That's what that logo is there. And then this one is China Rail. And this one, I guess, is undecorated. I'm not sure. But they're really, the quality is on par with the high-end stuff that we have, metal wheels and separate grab irons. And I think those are McHenry couplers. But they got a little bit of weight to them. I rolled them on my track. I didn't run them around, but they rolled real nice and smooth. So this guy that sent me these is hoping to break into the American market, but he's looking for something to model. And if you guys can think of some kind of modern freight car that nobody makes a model of, and you want some input, here's your chance. And let us know what you want to see. It doesn't have to be modern, but I think there's probably a better chance of doing something like, modern.
Right.
So, anyway, I was happy to get those. It was kind of neat him sending me that. And then this week I also got some more of these high cubes from Dave Lelbach at Tangent.
Yeah.
These are more in my era: Penn Central, Illinois Central, Southern Pacific.
Let's do them one at a time because I want to shoot these outside.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Penn Central first.
Okay. Yeah, PC is right in the heart of my modeling era. I modeled 1978, and so there was a lot of Penn Central stuff around, a lot of old New York Central with the reporting marks painted out with a roller and stuff, and that's the stuff I like. But the first few of these I got there, I was afraid to touch them. I was afraid to weather them because I didn't want to ruin them. But now that I probably have about a dozen of these, and I think I'm working up the courage to
wreck a couple.
To maybe try a little fading and stuff on them. So anyway, the next one is the Illinois Central, and these are 8-door cars, which are different than the ones that we showed originally. In the first run were 4-door cars where they just had the 4 doors in the center. These are 4 doors on each side in 2 places, and I think these 8-door cars were favored by General Motors for some reason. I don't know if it was the spacing of their docks or doors or whatever, but maybe for more efficient loading and unloading. But GM always liked to use the 8-door cars, and I think Ford and Chrysler used the 4-door cars. So again, these are all road specific. The underframes, cushion, draft gear, everything is completely prototyped to each particular road name. All 3 of these have different underframes.
Nice.
Specific to the actual road that it is. So, I mean, these things are beautiful. I remember probably 1970 it was when Athearn first came out with their high cubes, and they had this one just like this. Oh, yeah. And that I still have my original one. I also love that car so much.
What road name was it?
Well, it's Southern Pacific.
Just like I remember seeing that Athearn one.
And,
mine was Santa Fe. I bought it at Woolworth. Woolworth
That's
downtown.
where I got mine. Me too. Yeah, DT and I and this Southern Pacific. Man,
did you take a bi-state bus down there to get it?
I was riding the bus that day.
That's what I did.
A friend of mine too.
I took the bi-state bus downtown just so I didn't have to be around here.
I just couldn't believe it when I saw him.
We're talking back in 1970. Yeah,
74
for me.
Maybe.
Right.
I was busy then, not being born yet.
That's amazing, Mike.
So anyway,
You said that you were afraid to weather yours, and the gentleman, Steve Hurt, that made us this What's Neat This Week truck and presented it to us here on the show for the RPM show that we did here in the basement.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
He has been weathering these Tangent 86-foot freight cars, and I've got some of the photographs in my computer that I'm going to share with you right now. I don't know specifically road names I'm showing you right now. I remember some of them were in the winter scene, but Steve Hurt is amazing at weathering these freight cars. He is so good. When you got a bigger side profile car like this, it's more of a palette. It's more of a canvas for you to work with.
Yes.
And he is truly an artist, and we can't wait to see him this summer for the RPM meet. I'm sure he'll be back with a brand new, probably G-scale model to share. He always models that.
Yes.
So without further ado, I'm looking at the 3D printer over there, and it's going to town. I'm probably going to show you some B-roll of it, but I can't shoot it from here. It's already an inch and a half high. What are you printing?
I think there are a couple of owls that Greg loaded on there, sort of a test program.
That machine is quiet. It's just percolating along. The head moves and the table moves. I'm very impressed with it. Greg, tell us what that machine is that we're using right now.
Yeah, so I sent you a Viper, any cubic Viper.
Okay.
It's one of the latest machines, and it has the self-leveling, as you spoke about earlier. And it's very user-friendly, and I highly recommend it for someone that may be new to 3D printing.
Okay.
So a lot of the school systems, I've been installing them in the school systems and helping them out, giving them some instruction, follow-up, that kind of thing. And it's very affordable. It's got a great build plate dimension, and it's all around probably the most well-rounded 3D printer to get started with.
I actually agree. It looks simple to use, and I actually can't wait to tear into it over there and use it.
Yeah, I was just noticing that the layer lines are super thin on that thing compared to what I've seen before. So some of those layer line disadvantages are
the price
gradually
has
disappearing.
dropped. The quality has gone up, and we showed you setting that up over there. I remember shooting some of the B-roll video that we shot because we're going to make a What's Neat show about how to use that and what you can do with it. But James had no problem adding the top structure onto the base the way he shared it with me and showed me. He clipped on the filament onto the side. There's a small TV screen that you put, which is a console to operate the device. Everything's laid out quite ergonomically, and it's an open machine. This is not a machine like the resin printer where you have to have a lid on it to keep the fumes and the splashing of the chemicals from getting on you. This is a much safer type of a printer with regards to maybe it's better for the youth. The youth that want to start out with something filament first, learn the technology, and then upgrade to the resin type printers.
Although I will say that the hood on the resin printers is primarily designed so that the UV light does not get into them and solidify the resin before it's time.
That's why it's yellow.
So it's not such a splash danger, but rather a light danger to the resin itself, because when it hardens prematurely, that's not good for anybody.
And Greg, that was a selling point for you, was that the youth might be better with a filament printer starting out. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend something like the Viper. Initially, it's a lot less involved in the after processing application, and easy to get started with, easy to troubleshoot. If people call me and say that they have a certain issue, I can, probably walk them through it like I did you.
There you go. That was nice.
And we can get them up and starting. And that's what we want to do, right? We want to make product.
Right.
And so, and have fun, and it's a tool like anything else. And so I would definitely recommend, these are called FDM printers.
Okay.
And that's what I would recommend someone start with.
Fantastic. Yeah. Now, you have recently printed a Centralia Shops Caboose. You want to tell us about that, Greg?
Well, I had a gentleman that had seen me on your show, William Howard.
Okay.
And he's the curator at the Vandalia. I knew I was going to say that right. Vandalia.
Vandalia.
Did I get it right? I said Centralia, didn't I? It's Vandalia.
Yeah, Vandalia.
Okay.
Vandalia.
Well, you're thinking of the InterMountain Centralia cabooses.
Yeah. And so they have a caboose that they want to restore. Maybe you can see it on the
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they
okay.
have this caboose, and it's part of their history in Illinois, and they want to restore it. And so he said, "Hey, we're trying to create a fundraising campaign, and we want to be able to restore this, get people excited about it, get them behind our history, our railroad history, and all of that." He said, "Can you help us out?" And I said, "I would love to." And so I said, "Well, what do you have?" He says, "Well, we have this drawing." Right? So I don't know if y'all can see this or not.
Yeah.
We do.
They have an actual drawing from the manufacturer of this. See if I can make this right. From the manufacturer.
No,
right.
So, being a busy guy like I am and a great delegator,
Yeah.
I gave this to my son at Troy University. He goes there, and go Trojans. And I said, "Hey, you need to put this in the CAD system. You need to get it exactly accurate, and then you need to send it to me so I can 3D print it." And he did an awesome job of that.
Oh yeah,
Man.
and those blueprint drawings are solid gold. If you're trying to do a 3D model of a car, of a caboose, basically anything, if you can find that blueprint.
Yeah, so we got that. He actually drew it in the CAD system to scale, and then I scaled it like I think it was 2.5% or whatever it is. Basically, I divided it by 43 because they wanted O scale, and then printed it out, and then we actually have a replica of it.
Nice.
Here. We did it in two parts, just kind of like a manufacturer would do.
Oh,
right.
And so you can combine it, and I thought my son did a really good job of getting the details on this.
Yeah, that looks good.
Now this is kind of the first run. We can certainly hollow out the windows. Hollow out the windows here if quote unquote the customer wants us to. We can add additional detail. We can also print grab irons and all kinds of things like that. But honestly, for a first run, I mean, this thing went really well, and they're really excited about it. So I'm gonna send them this. They're gonna look over it, do a few adjustments for us, and then we'll try to help them out and print a few more.
That's cool.
Right.
Is that O scale?
Yeah, the one he had
Is that O scale?
It's O scale.
Nice.
I have that Caboose in HO scale. I got a long time ago, a model. It's pretty unusual prototype.
And was that a filament print or a resin print?
That's a filament print. And
came out good.
What they're gonna do, they're gonna put the first one they're gonna put in City Hall. And so as people come in, they'll start to gather the vision, and then they're gonna try to place them throughout the city so that they can gather some momentum. And then they're thinking about maybe doing some kits so folks can actually build their own and weather them and do whatever.
Nice.
And so we got some refining. I mean, it was a little bit thick. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah.
I could stand on this. But that's just all part of the process, but it's certainly a lot more economical than trying to injection mold one and get all of that.
Yeah, the tooling and everything. Wow.
I mean, yeah, it's just so cool, right?
Yeah.
And so it's such a great opportunity, and we love to help people.
That's
great.
That's what we're about. We just love to help people. We want to preserve history, and so we're excited to be able to participate in this.
Greg, tell us what your website is where people can see, and you've got some brand new printers you've added, some commercial duty printers to the website. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we've partnered with a company called Flash Forge. I mean, we have a lot of great printers at a lot of great price points, and we printed this on the Flash Forge. And the Flash Forge just gives you a little bit more finer detail, a little bit more control over the model. And so we began selling those online. In fact, I delivered one to one of our local school systems, Ozark City School Systems here, and they're super excited. A couple of advantages to the Flash Forward. It has the auto leveling, but also all of them are enclosed. And the one I sent, the one we delivered here recently was for fifth graders. And so there was a little bit of concern about them putting their hands on the hot.
Keeps those little hands out of there. Yeah.
Enclosure. Yeah, we can add another degree of safety for the students, and then they're fascinated. The super cool thing about the Flash Forge is that they're all Wi-Fi compatible. So you can be sitting anywhere on your desk, and a student can send their print to the printer over Wi-Fi and tell it to start to print. And then most of them have cameras in them, and so you can be sitting at home. You've got a real long print, and you can log in and you can look and see how your print's doing.
So now does this does sending it over Wi-Fi, does it send the entire sliced file to the printer at once, or?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, so the Flash Forge has internal memory, and so you can send them, you just send the file over there, it says it's downloading the file, and then it retains it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a couple cool things with that is, like, if you have a power outage or whatever, it'll remember that. It'll remember where it stopped, and when the power comes back on, it'll resume. So you don't lose your print.
Man.
How cool is that?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The future is here.
I was telling someone today that just think, all the projects you had to do in school. Back in my time, we had a project, right? We would get the old clay out and mold out something, right, and do a little molding, or use the poster board or whatever. Now these kids are coming to me and they're saying, "Hey, we want to 3D print an engine, so I can show how a combustion engine works."
Unbelievable.
Right.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, you're gonna get an A.
Remember the visible V8 from,
Yes.
was it Revell?
Yeah,
Who made that model?
1/4 inch scale or
Right.
something.
Oh my gosh, you just brought that back. Oh my God, now you can print your own.
Right.
I can't hear anything anymore all of a sudden.
That's all good. Hey, listen, it was really nice to have Denny here last week. A lot of folks enjoyed Denny. In fact, Holly and Denny got along great. I was so happy to see that. Thank you, Denny, for taking us out to dinner. But tonight's show is brought to you by the letters
E and F.
And then when we say that, it's because Denny wanted us to go onto his website and share with you, and in fact, the letters E and F. And I've already got it brought up here on the screen. And if you look, E, we were trying to figure out what railroads start with an E. And by the way, Frisco was one of the F words.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what railroads start with F?
I figured it would be
Frisco?
under S.
I didn't remember that.
St. Louis San
Let's start with E and see what we've got. I've got it brought up right here on the screen. And what do we got?
East
J&E,
Broad Top.
I like that.
East
Elgin.
Broad Top.
Elgin, Joliet, and Eastern.
Yes.
These are all stitched logos
EMD.
that you can have put on a jacket and or a
Erie.
hat. Beautiful threads. This is not printed. This is stitched at Yelsma.com. Yelsma Graphics. Denny was fun to have on. Let's go to F. He told me there wasn't very much on either screen. This has got to be
Ferromix.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that? That's the InterMountain Autoracks we've got over there, isn't it?
Mexico.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can see them in the
And the next one is?
Florida and East Coast.
God,
There's,
spring break was going on for the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Florida's doing well right now.
Yeah.
The Florida East Coast Railways, a lot of different logos here that you can, again, have put on a jacket and or a hat. Pretty amazing. Plus, another thing Denny talked about a lot, and I'm going to stop here as I go through this, was how wonderful it is to have clubs have their jackets all printed. Groups of jackets and shirts and hats to promote your colors for your club. Florida East Coast steam locomotives.
Yeah.
Here's the blue locomotives that Athearn was making. How cool is that? But that's is where we started running out thinking what was next, and all of a sudden Mike's
and Frisco.
railroad.
I forgot about FEC, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Big time.
There's a lot of those. FEC, Florida East Coast. And then comes, I know it's coming, where's Frisco? It's got to be here.
It might be under F.
There it is. There's that observation.
The
bar,
Texas Special.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Frisco
There's-
E units. I mean, this is one of them prints that must be about 300,000 stitches, to have it. It's not a
Right.
print, it's stitched. Again, with the
Right.
shiny threads
Right.
that look great in the light. So with that, that's what we wanted to do for Denny. We wanted to share that. I'm going to bring back Greg, if I can do this. Greg, give us your picture back, brother. There it is.
All right, there he is.
Perfect. And that's what we wanted to do for Denny. Again, check it out on Denny's website. If you come to the Anna Murray National here in St. Louis, we're going to be giving out some hats for the show. Thank you, Denny, for that. And also some hats at the RPM meet. And those shows are going to both be about 2 weeks apart from each other. So it's going to be a really crazy, wonderful, busy late summer for us.
It'll be a fun time in St. Louis.
I know, right? We're coming on to 34 minutes, James, and I know you're chomping at the bit because you've got something hooked up to the power cab here.
Yeah.
Tell us what you've... I guess this is 3D printed, isn't it?
Well, the locomotive
Parts
itself is not 3D printed,
Okay.
but this just shows what you can do with 3D printing in terms of detail parts.
Okay.
This is a Atlas GP39-2 from their Trainmen line, so it's not their premium line. It's sort of their entry level line. However, like everything Atlas has done, they have the details set up so that you can drill them in, do them yourself pretty nicely. That they have it preset for you so that you can do that. So I bent the grab irons myself. I made LED light pockets for those little 0402 LEDs that they fit right in here into these holes.
For the
There you
ditch
go.
lights?
For the headlights, for
Okay.
the reverse lights, and for the front, I actually set it up here so that you can have your LEDs for the headlights here. And of course, it's painted black when put in the locomotive, so
All
no
these
light
small
gets
little
through.
parts. They're gonna
And
be
so
hard
you
to
got
see.
separate number board control.
Right.
Then on top of that, did the antenna stand. The air conditioner dates back to the beep when I did that, but it's the same vapor air conditioner. And then the plow was probably the big challenge on this one.
Okay.
Atlas puts a plow on some of their locomotives that isn't all that prototypical, at least, or railroad specific.
Yeah, right.
And so Details West made a really nice pewter plow that you can put on the locomotives, and have them match up EMD or GE or whatever. The problem with the Details West plow is they have their mounting pips, or whatever you want to call them, pins, at a certain height. And it does not match the original Atlas height for their plow.
Okay.
And so you have to sort of drill them in. And I wound up getting them at the wrong height and wrecked a locomotive. I thought, well, why don't I recreate the plow in 3D, and then I can move those pins exactly where they would fall relative to the height on the locomotive.
Nice.
So it took a few efforts to do that. Also here, I made a die to try and bend the cut levers for the front and back of the locomotive from
So
phosphor
you're getting
bronze
all kinds
wire.
of uses out of this 3D printer.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of stuff you can use. Now, to be honest, this die, without the die, bending these cut levers is a pain in the rear.
Okay.
With the die, bending these cut levers is a pain in the rear. So it's degrees, but and then also. And we're going to go back and make these later on from scratch, probably the antenna stand and these floor bells for the locomotive.
Nice.
So the one thing about the GP39 that Atlas made, they had a almost two-dimensional molded bell that was attached to the locomotive shell. And I was like, well, if you look at it from the wrong angle, that's going to be sticking out like a sore thumb. So I designed one in Blender to replace it. Using those same dimensions,
Okay.
Just making it a full 3D part. The one thing I will say is that at this size, you come into some of the strength limitations of the resin, that the rod that the bell rests on will break pretty easily. So you're probably best off doing a flat top, going back in, drilling in, putting a brass wire for support. But yeah, this locomotive was a lot of fun, and as you can see here, it's got a whole bunch of LEDs going on. It has a Rapido rotary beacon, which is a really nice addition, and of course, it's equipped with TCS wow sound. So
Very cool. I expect nothing less of you, James. Your engines are superior and they're amazing, and just blows me away all the lighting effects and the details that you are able to print and make to upgrade your locomotives. All right, guys, let's go around the table one more time. Do we think we've covered everything tonight? Greg, what do you think?
Hey, I've got a favor to ask.
Okay.
I know we're running a little bit
The answer
late.
is yes.
I acquired this pre-war Lionel locomotive, and I have not been able to identify it. And what's really cool is that it has the Madison hardware. Can y'all see that?
I do.
Sticker on it, right?
Right.
And, you know, which is obviously iconic with Lionel. And I was wondering if maybe some of your viewers could put in the comments what they thought, you know, if they could tell me what this was, and you know, what year and all of that, and give me a little history on it. I don't know, maybe it's pretty common.
That's pretty neat.
I couldn't find anything on it.
That's very cool.
Okay.
All right, guys, this is the best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it. James, Mike, thank you very much for running camera for us, Richard. I love you, buddy. And Greg Summerlin, your website is glroboticsusa.com. Not only can you find some amazing 3D printers on there, but you can also find robotic lawnmowers, which are better than having 5 goats in your backyard, as we've talked about tonight. Which we can't wait to actually talk about that, because that would lend itself well to a garden railroad situation where you don't want the machine going over your track, but you can go to work, it'll dock itself, it'll come out, mow, and then go back and recharge itself.
No, as your neighbor will tell you, that the 3D lawnmowers, or the robotic lawnmowers, will not taste as good as the goats.
Okay, so with that, guys, we're going to take our NCE power system here. We're all going to have some fun. Greg, I wish you were here. You're coming soon. You're going to come hang out with us, aren't you?
Yes.
All right.
Looking forward to that. We're also going to have Jeff Otto here next month, too. Looking forward to that. And we're going to take our NCE hammerhead and the throttle systems, and we are going to run some trains tonight and have a good time. So with that, guys, let's do that.
Run some trains.
Let's run some trains.
All right.
All right, thumbnail shots. Keep camera 1 rolling. And Greg, you did a great job. And that machine's still over there printing. It's so quiet.
Be about finished.
Oh, my headphones just came back on.
They did.
Yeah.
Ready, set, smile. Show them the teeth. On 3. Ready? And we've got the thumbnail. Keep camera 1 rolling, and I'll start rolling credits. Good job, Richard. Thank you for being here tonight. Make sure you take off your microphones before you get up.
Good idea.
All right. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, my gosh.
After all, we are not Daniel.
Right? Where is Daniel? I miss him so much.
He said he was busy again tonight.
Cool.
Does he owe you money again?
No.
No.
That was a great date. We took him on a date, chaperoned him. That was fun.
Yeah.
Good job, Mike.
All right, man.
Appreciate it.
No podcast next weekend, right?
No, next weekend. And by the way, in the April show, that's where your video runs on how to do Scotch tape windows.
It just came out?
It just came out 4 days ago.
All right, I'll look for it, man.
It's a really good video. We got Jennifer Kirk in it, and also next month for June, we got Jennifer Kirk again.
Okay.
So I'm really appreciative of the fact that they're helping us create material.
Yes.
We need it. Good job, James.
All right.
Greg, we'll chat with you here in just a second. I'm going to kill sound.
Hey,
All right, see you
Ken.
guys next time. I'll be back before next podcast, I'm sure.
Perfect. I'll make sure I have a good screen capture too, please. I like it when the equipment works. How many computers does it take to do a show? And we have a good file. Excellent.
All right.
And we're going to take that file and get it rendered right away.